Hi guys, this is Wolf from Tesla Owners US, and today we are at Grubin Motors Electric Vehicle Division.
I pressed insane. I went insane.
So, and when you see that here, we already have a whole bunch of Teslas staying around, and we will give you the solution why are these Teslas here. So when you come to that yard there, to that building, you go over here and there is Grubin Motors Electric Vehicle Division. And let's step into the door and say hello. And who do we have here? This is Peter Gruber Jr. He has a lot of electronic equipment, and we go a little bit around here and he does us a little explanation. So as you can see here,
is a customer's vehicle that we've got in right now.
yeah.
Like us, he bought a salvage flood damaged vehicle out of Houston, Texas.
It came off Craigslist. We bid against the owner of this car. It went too high, $30,000. So we were wondering what happened to it. Then it resurfaced. We found it on Craigslist, and the owner said, I took it to Tesla. Tesla said, oh, we're sorry, we don't work on salvage cars, and you're on your own. And he had no way to fix it. So he said, this is not for the faint of heart. You really have to know what you're doing, and I want $36,000. We know he paid around $30,000 for it with transport. He's got $31,000 in it. Tesla probably charged him $1,200 for their analysis. So I knew why he was asking $36,000. But no one's going to buy this for $36,000 because you can buy a used Tesla Model S for around $40,000, $45,000 with full warranty and all the rest, with with a clean title and no salvage history. So we called him up and we said, look, we repair flood damaged cars. We'll take a look at it for you, and unlike Tesla, we'll actually attempt to repair on this. So he brought it to us. We took everything out, cleaned the carpet, and it turns out that he has a bad high voltage junction box and he has a bad charger. And this car is almost ready to be drivable again.
Sure. So what we tend to find with the flood damage vehicles, in the back here we've got the chargers and the high voltage junction box. Given the height from the ground, these ones tend to get flooded the most often. So sure enough, as we had seen, the chargers were bad. We've since replaced one of them, and we've actually had to replace the high voltage junction box, which we don't normally do. But this one seems to have needed something like that.
So now where did you get the parts from the high junction?
Well, we can't buy them from Tesla. Tesla will not sell us parts, especially for salvage vehicles, and especially not for high voltage components. So we have to go to dismantlers, and there's several of them around the country.
Now, the thing with parts is, this is also important. You cannot buy parts for salvage cars.
Yes.
Tesla does not support them. So everything that you purchase for a used or a salvage Tesla is gray market. And you have to find dismantlers, you have to find companies like us that are able to part out cars.
These are the chargers that we've removed so far from the vehicles. You can see, of course, on many of them they have signs of corrosion, water damage. Yeah. And those that don't, when we open them up, we do find that water is still inside of them.
What part is that now?
This is a charger.
Oh, this is a charger.
That's a charger.
It makes from DC to AC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you've got
So
inverter
that
boards.
is a single charger, right? So there's some cars with dual chargers and some with single chargers,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the chargers. We've got a mixture of the Generation 2s and the Generation 1 chargers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're different, right?
Exactly.
This is the facelift 2016.
No, actually,
Oh,
he's going to pull out a facelift 2016 here in just a second.
Okay.
So this one started about late 2014 and ended mid to late 2016.
Yeah.
This is from day one to about mid 2014 to late 2014.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
Interesting to know. Yeah. So what these parts? This is a high voltage junction
So
box,
yes, this
right?
is the high voltage junction box that we just saw in the other vehicle.
That's one what was flooded, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Flooded heißt geflutet. Das werdet ihr vielleicht schon wissen.
yeah, this one, we've taken out some of these parts, get it open, and you can see the buses here for battery minus and battery plus.
Yes.
Lots of electronics. These are your fast charge contactors here.
Oh, so they come in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got several cables that come in, bolt down here,
Yeah.
here. So all sorts of cables coming into this, and then inside we've also got
Yeah.
a motherboard in there that
Yeah.
provides communication with the rest of the vehicle.
Oh, that is a problem when you have a car which is not anymore allowed on Tesla. That does not make it supercharging when they get the information from Tesla. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
So you
Yeah, so
probably that's
something
where they
like that.
turn it on or turn it off, right?
Right, and that is not saved in this. There's a configuration file inside of the media control unit. That's the large center display.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to find that information about supercharging. So this is just going to receive the signals from that MCU or CID telling it, yes, you're okay to supercharge. Go ahead and close these contactors and let that DC bus.
Okay. So it goes back to the controller board in the computer of the car and said, hey, you are okay to open the box.
So,
All right.
Peter does a little bit more explanation of that.
So this is where the charge port connectors are going to connect in here.
Yeah.
So from the exterior of the vehicle,
genau.
you've got
Also
AC
hier zum
coming
Beispiel,
in.
hier kommt das Kabel an, was ihr außen auf eurem Rücklicht habt. Und das geht dann durchs Auto komplett und hier kommt es dann an.
Yeah.
Yep. And you've also got DC when you're doing supercharging. Now,
Yes.
depending on which mode it's going to charge in, these contactors will close and give a direct connection to the battery so that you have straight DC coming out of the supercharger into the battery.
Direct to the
Yes.
battery. The AC bypass
Oh, yeah.
is
Okay.
going from here directly then to the battery.
I got it.
Right. Now, if you're going to charge in AC mode, it's going to come into here, and then what you're going to have happen is AC is going to come out into the charger. It's going to get converted into your DC, come back onto here, and then it's going to go into the battery from there. And then when the battery wants to send power to the motor, it's also going to do that through here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that's
so-
a very important part.
Yes.
So these fuses, did you ever have that broken?
No,
Maybe
we
saw
haven't
it?
quite figured out exactly what the fuses are for.
Yeah, it looks strange.
Yeah, we haven't traced this one out completely. But as far as the connections go on the high voltage bus, that's what's sort of going on. There's also one more connection in here that's going to run to the front of the vehicle, and that's going to run things like your AC compressor, your front high voltage junction box for the DC to DC,
DC-DC,
compressor.
yeah, to DC converter to
Right.
lower voltage. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to convert your high voltage to 12 volts to run the rest of the system.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty important box in the back, but we don't find it usually going out even when it does fill with water. Luckily, this is mostly low-level componentry, no integrated circuits or anything. This board here luckily has a nice layer of conformal coating, so again, it can survive the water far better than most of the other components.
Okay.
Good.
So,
And this is in the car on the same height.
yeah, so knee-deep water, this thing will likely get flooded.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's 30
So and
centimeters.
that box is really not sealed, right? So if that gets flooded, then you're done.
Yeah, in
right?
fact, it's wide open on the side here to allow cables to
Okay.
go through it, so
Yeah.
it's not sealed at all. In fact, it's the same problem with these chargers is they also aren't sealed too well. You can see on the first generations here on the side, water can very easily slip in through the side here. On these second gens, that port's a bit higher.
Yeah.
But then there's also a breather hole on top. Someone put a screw in there, but yeah, that's going to be your breather hole. It just fill right in.
Yeah.
So
It's not
despite
sealed.
having a seal around on the inside, it's not going to keep water out.
Okay.
I think one of these, there we go, that one's open.
So there is an open
Yeah.
AC converter.
Yeah, and this one's a bit heavy. So this one actually came out of that P90 Ludicrous that we've got.
Yeah.
And here's what you've got going on the inside. So again,
Yeah, I
depending on which one
remember.
it is, AC's coming in.
These
and
were
it's coming out as
this
DC.
one, right? Those.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
So
two
maybe-
cables that plug into here.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just next door. Basically, they're just next door. Yeah.
So
This is the cable
these are
from there to
connected
there.
To this one.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got one of your main motherboards in here that controls most
the-
everything.
Controls the charge, right?
Yeah. And then we move these out of the way, and what we can do, when this comes off, we can now see underneath here.
There's quite some technology in that car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
definitely.
they are. All right, so we got our cover here, and now what you're going to see are 3 long boards. These are
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
what are the specs on them, because we got 48 amps, 16. So yeah,
So that,
these are your phase boards.
Yeah.
In Europe, you're going to use all 3 phases for the 3 phases that
Okay,
you'd have.
das
to
sind
And
die
then-
Phasen zuständig.
Yeah, and in
US
the
you're
US
used
is
to
only
explain.
2 phases, right?
Exactly. So
Because
you're
we
using
have
2 of them at a time. The third one's not even being used.
Okay, didn't know that.
yeah.
And again, this is the one that's difficult to repair only because of this jelly potting on the side here.
Hier könnt ihr das sehen.
Jelly
das ist
potting?
eingegossen
Oh, yeah.
in so eine Pampe.
Yeah,
Und das ist sogar nass. It's wet.
yeah, it's
Und
quite
deswegen ist es
wet.
schwer zu reparieren, denn
Is that for cooling
das
it?
müsste man dann erstmal alles komplett
That's your
rauspulen,
cooling right there.
um an die,
So, that's
an die
for
Motherboards
cooling.
ranzukommen oder an die Platinen, und das ist das Problem. Und wenn die Dinger unter Wasser gelegen sind, dann sind die meistens hinüber. So if they were underwater and flooded, these are done, right? Or
For the most part.
for the most part. So you
know if
can
we've seen them
repair
actually survive
some
it.
stuff.
I mean, quite possibly, you could possibly repair things on top here, but you don't know how bad the damage is underneath.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
if water gets in, it's going to eat at everything underneath here.
Yeah.
There's some control boards on the side there.
You all can see the water.
Yeah. In
Sword,
fact, this
yeah.
one, I believe, had water in it when we opened it up. So we do tend to find that they'll still have water
Still
sitting
water
in them.
You can see
in it when
We
you
dump it out.
You dump it out. You dump the water out basically
Yeah,
out
Hier
of
ist sogar
that.
der Rost, könnt ihr das sehen? Das Ding war komplett unter Wasser.
Yep. So from a repair standpoint, this is a much more difficult piece to repair. Though we're looking for a way to, possibly dissolve this silicone, or perhaps, come up with a technique for just scraping it away enough to just pull the boards out.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
So
we
do
don't-
you have people?
Tesla would never. Tesla doesn't talk to us. In fact, next door, we sort of branched off from Gruber Powers, and Gruber Power worked on power modules for UPSs, uninterruptible power supplies. That's really the inception of the company, was the UPS business next door. And these guys got really good at repairing the motherboards and the circuitry inside of these UPSs. So from that, they decided, well, I mean, a Roadster or a Tesla Model S is essentially a UPS on wheels, and your load just happens to be a motor.
UPS means what?
Uninterruptible power supply. So this is a device that's used in buildings, give it a hospital.
So for backup
military.
systems, for building backup
So the
systems,
power
right?
goes out, this
okay.
keeps the
Yeah.
power running.
Yeah, one of these salvage cars. Tesla already said, no, we're out.
Right,
So you don't get any support from Tesla.
correct.
So what about charging at a supercharger?
That sort of thing can be turned on in the back end if the vehicle didn't make it through recertification. So if you were to get the car recertified with Tesla, and that would be take it in, have them inspect it, check it over, and make sure that it meets their standards of being rebuilt, then they would re-enable all of those features. That would be supercharging, that would be the Tesla app, and the car would now be back on their network. You could buy parts for it, you could get service from them.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that we're working on doing with these vehicles, is we want to get them to a point where we can actually take them back to Tesla and have them approve the vehicle for use in their network, so that when the next owner purchases the vehicle, they don't have to feel that we're the only people they can come to for service.
Yes. So the recertification, is that hard? Does it cost a lot of money? Or?
Yes, as
Yes.
far as we're aware, we're the only ones who've been able to do it successfully with a flood damaged vehicle.
You're the only ones who did it.
Right. We've been looking online to see if anyone else has any anecdotal evidence or data about, recertifying a flood damaged vehicle, but so far that doesn't seem to be the case.
Okay.
Now, several structural damages have gone through recertification,
Yes.
received their warranties, but flood damage, it seems that we're the first. We're still going through the process with them, and it's
So,
like-
but-
May I ask you, what does that cost to
The
get a
price tag is
certification?
between $3,000 and $5,000, right?
Right. So the first level 1 inspection is going to cost you $1,200, and quite honestly, it's useless for a flood damaged vehicle. And for the level 1 service or inspection that Tesla's performing, they're not looking at the connectors. They're honestly just looking at the weld joints. They're making sure that we didn't graft on this quarter panel here.
Yes.
And since it's flood damage, the reason why we like them is we don't do body work, we do electronics. And so that's the first thing that they check, and then they're going to check for any alerts, any DTCs, problems with the vehicle.
DTC is?
Diagnostic trouble code.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any sort of problem reporting on the back end saying that this car's got an issue, they're going to then tell you, okay, we see this error and here's likely what's going on. What we do is we prepare the vehicle, we repair it to a point where it's going to go in and it's not going to repair, or I'm sorry, it's not going to show any errors, so that it just smoothly goes through the process. That's what happened with our first vehicle. They checked the welds. Not sure why they have to do that. We're kind of hoping they perhaps change it up a little, maybe not. And so yeah, when it goes in, they're gonna see that, hey, everything seems to be fine. I just checked the welds, everything's good. I just checked the system, nothing's reporting an error, nothing's missing. Let's send it to the next step. So once you've gotten through this, this first inspection, the next one that you're going to go through is a safety inspection. And now this is going to go to the service center because the level 1 service or inspection is going to be done by an approved body shop. Tesla does not do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once you pass this
inspection, like new image is one
exactly.
of them. Mm-hmm.
So now it's going to go to the service center, and now the service center is going to check safety items. We're not 100% sure what this list is. We just know that we were told our tire tread was too low. They didn't like these marks on the H-arms because at the salvage lots, when they pick up the vehicles, they have these long 10-foot forks, and they go straight under the car. And so what it does is it adds little nicks to the suspension, so the H-arms will have little nicks on them. And they said, you know what, that's a compromised H-arm. Okay.
So very picky.
Yeah, they're very picky. So it's little things like that, and we're still trying to figure out a windshield. We wanted to replace it either during the process or after the process, and right now the car is stuck in limbo because they can't figure out what to do about it. Supposedly, when you pass this level 1 inspection, they're going to give you, like we said, the safety inspection list of replace these items, and then you can buy those parts. So you're in sort of a gray zone now where you can buy parts for your vehicle to get it up to spec to pass the safety inspection. However, we're being told now they're not sure if that's the case, and they don't know how to handle this, basically.
Okay.
So it's quite a process, but we hope that if we can nail this down, we can at least have some anecdotal evidence to put out on the internet and show everyone else how to do this sort of process and
that would
what
be
to
great.
expect.
So do you have a YouTube channel?
No, we don't have one yet.
Okay. That's why we are here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right.
a lot of work. That's a problem.
Yeah,
That's why we are here.
Yeah, we're real busy just getting these running right now. So
Get them running.
The second step. And the third step is they connect you again to the system.
Yes. So now you are fully supported by Tesla. You can buy parts. You can use the app. They'll service your vehicle, and the vehicle's back up and running.
And that's then the same situation than the accident or the flood before. So that means free supercharging for the owner and all that stuff, all the benefits.
Yes, they come back.
Okay, and you have to pay after you get it re-registered or get a recertification. It's $4,000 or $5,000.
So yeah, you start with the $1,200. The safety inspection, depending on how long the car's been sitting, you're going to have to do an annual. In fact, the one that we did from 2014 was past due. They only did the first annual, so there were 2 pending, the second and third. We just opted for the 4th. It does everything all at once, and that's like $750 to $800. And then you have the safety inspection, which again, if you prepare the car, put new wheels on it, check the H-arms or replace them beforehand, make sure there's no cracks, dings, dents anywhere else in the car. You could fly through at what, 22,000 roughly. So you could get through recertification for as little as 2,000 as long as the car is up to snuff.
In best conditions, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
so you can start with level 4 if everything's fine, or do they still check level 1?
They still do the level 1 inspection.
Okay,
to
so
check
level
the welds.
1, 1,200, level
Yes.
2, 800, level 3?
No, the the level 2 inspection is a different process. This is still, the level inspections are done at the certified body shops, the tabs.
Yes.
And the level 1 is just checking welds. The level 2 is supposed to be for flood damaged vehicles. And I think, I'm not 100% sure now, what triggers a level 2 inspection.
Okay.
I believe that this customer's vehicle was slated for a level 2 inspection and they didn't go forward with it. And that inspection, don't quote me on the price, is anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. So the price jumps up quite significantly from the first level inspection. But yeah, once you pass these 2 levels of inspection at the body shop, then you can go to the service center, and the service center is going to do their safety inspection, make sure the car's up to date on annuals, and then once you pass all that, yeah, you're back on the network.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what do we have here?
Detour. This is what the inside of that 100D would look like.
Yes. Also so sieht der 100D von innen auch aus.
If you were to come in, say, with snow, or if your shoes were covered in snow and that were to melt, it seems in these newer ones, they've closed the hole. There used to be a hole here. On either side, so if this area was filled with water, it would drain into here, and that's where you'd get the flooded chargers, you get the flooded high voltage junction box. That appears to have been resolved on this. So this one would be less likely to get flooded as long as the water level stayed below this bar here.
This level, yeah.
So it's all about that bar.
Yeah. Now in the older styles, there is a port here, and that's where the high voltage cables would run to the front for the second motor, or on that side to power the front high voltage junction box. And from that hole, water would fill in here, and you know, the water, as long as it was here in the cabin, it could very easily run into here. You would need a fair amount of snow to be able to do that. So let's say you left the windows down and the snow filled in the car, that's where you probably have a problem. Bringing in snow on your shoes, you'd probably be okay. They are, yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, it seems to be, this is a generation 3 charger, and what you see there is one phase is going in here, and there's another phase going in here. So when that's the 48 amp charger. So, and then here is the unit for the high voltage, or for the DC voltage. Actually, the same thing is all in one. It's all in one, the high voltage converter and the charger.
Here goes the way to the battery.
Yeah.
And this goes from your connector outside the car.
And this is what it looked like before we opened it up.
Wow, look, this is the, and it's now, that's improved because it's very much good sealed. So the old ones would have water intrusion here.
Well, we can show you some first and second generations.
When they really have bad water intrusion. Now this is sealed, so there is not water coming into those ones anymore. So that's an improvement in the product. This is a 48 amp charger, and there is a 72 amp chargers for that as well. Now the charger and the junction box is all in one unit. Have you seen a 72 amp charger? Is it the same box?
It's the same exact
box. It's the same size.
It's just got a different
and now it's protecting. It's 72 amp high amp charging. So now it's also protecting here the water from coming in because it's better sealed as the old boxes, right? So that might be possible that you save that car or save the charger.
In fact, we could probably reuse this charger. We'll just have to clean up the outside because it's pretty grungy.
Yeah.
We sandblast the outside.
Yeah?
Yeah, it makes it a little
Hey, and there is Pete Gruber Senior. He just joined us, and hello, Pete. How are you doing?
Well, now I'm getting all shy.
So no, and we like that. So I have a 72 amp on my Model X, and that's the same unit, probably only with some more amperage. So.
Yeah, or it could have all of the same circuitry. They're just software limiting it. We haven't figured that out though.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
I think we've opened a 72, but that 100D definitely has a 72 amp version in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did not open that one up.
But if you have a sticker on it, 48 amp, that is probably the limitation. That's 48 amp, and then there's another sticker on the other unit which has 72 amp. Right.
So yeah, we would still have to open them up and confirm whether or not it is a software limitation. And we know that Tesla likes to software limit things.
So.
From a manufacturing standpoint, it makes sense to make all 72 amps and then just software limit the ones to 48.
And let me say that again, every electric car on the road is better than a gas car on the road, and that's why I'm supporting you guys.
Yeah.
And that's why it's coming on my YouTube channel. It doesn't matter where the car's coming from, if you recertify them or you bring them back on the road.
Yeah.
So,
create a lot of damage on these cars.
Oh,
As
yes.
you can see, and when we talk to them about it, they say, well, these are scrap cars. They're going to the crusher. You know, they're going to get their parts cars. So
Yeah, no.
why should we take care of them? You
Yeah,
know?
they should not, right?
Right. They don't realize that there are companies like us that actually restore these cars and rebuild them, and that we're very much interested in preserving the body.
Yeah.
So if you walk around this car, you'll see there's some carnage right there. There's a spot right here and here.
They scratched it somehow, right?
Exactly.
They're
And then
not
on
being
the other
careful with it, right?
Right. We have some more damage on the other side. And the unfortunate part about this type of damage on a car like this is not a paint job, this is a wrap.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in order to
Wrapping
repair
like Tesla.
something like this, you have to take the wrap off, fix the body, and then put the wrap back on, and the likelihood of actually matching this wrap that came from the southeast somewhere is pretty slim.
It's
You
not
have- you
not
have the
possible.
address.
Grabmytesla.com. All right. So this is a performance version, because I see the red calibers for that.
This is
Yeah.
a P100D Ludicrous, and
Oh,
when
wow.
when we started it up, we saw the screen fire up, which confirmed it. If you notice, there was no badging on the back,
Yeah.
which is another risk. We weren't 100% certain this was a P100D Ludicrous at the time we bought it, because they had taken the letters off to do the wrap.
Yeah.
So it was a gamble. Despite that gamble, we ended up paying $55,000 for a car that we weren't sure.
But you
of
have
its
the VIN
pedigree.
number to check it out or not.
We don't have a VIN decoder, and Tesla won't share that information with you.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So you're basically on your own, and it's always a gamble when you buy these, unless you can see the letters in the back and it
But
confirms.
And this
You-
is a flooded car too?
Yes.
but you're buying a P100D Ludicrous, and then you don't get nice wheels on it, and you get the standard wheels.
We took those
Does not
wheels
match.
off.
Ah, you took the wheels off.
Put them on another car.
You put them on another
Yeah,
car.
for
Okay.
now anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, these are normally not 19-inch wheels or
No,
21-inch
21
wheels.
yes. Okay.
And we're still not sure we're going to repair this, because it was a Florida car, and it had some saltwater damage,
Yeah.
and it's going to be an extensive, restoration.
Yeah.
But the pedigree may make it worth it. We suspect.
Wait a minute, please.
Okay, we are ready.
So this car came from Louisiana. It was a flood damage car. We saw it at auction, and the description was flood damage and vandalism. So we assumed that vandalism, because you could see the broken glass, meant that the body also had some marks. Maybe a tree fell on it, maybe they used a baseball bat. When we got the car, we were surprised. Only this glass was broken, this one was broken out completely, and this one was broken out completely. So it takes us a while to get a hold of the owners, because Tesla doesn't release owner information, but sometimes through paperwork inside the car, personal effects, we can find the owner. I finally got a hold of the gentleman, and he said, "Oh, I loved my car. It was the most fun car I've ever had. I'm glad that you guys have it, and you'll restore it, because I didn't want it to go to the crusher." So I then asked, "How did it end up with 3 pieces of broken glass?" He says, "Well, the water got up to the 18-inch level, and the electronics shut down, and I had boxes in the back I needed to get out. So I asked my insurance company, and they said, well, if you can't get in it, just break some glass." So he said, "I love the car too much to break glass on my car, so I called my drunk neighbor over." He comes over, and he decides, well, I'm going to break in here. Well, there's a membrane that runs through here, a plastic membrane, so he couldn't get in here. Then he decides he's going to break this window out completely and reach in and open the back door, because it's a small window. Problem is, when the power is down, this door handle doesn't work from the inside.
Yeah.
So the third option was, let's break this one. And finally he got in the car.
So you have to break the driver's side or the passenger side window when the car is down in order to break into the car.
Yes. We actually have a tool, though, that lets us stretch in and grab the door handle and then pop it from the inside, so we don't have to
Yeah.
break anything.
This will conclude our visit at Gruber Motors Electric Vehicles. Hey, Peter, thank you very much. Bring the electric cars on the road again, let them drive, and it was very interesting, all of the parts that we're seeing here. And we might come again another time.
Please come again.
Yeah, okay, and we see what's going on when you have your new building up and running.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be good.
So okay. This summer then.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye.
I pressed and say